Today we want to discuss the latest features and advancement in DevOps Model RealTime version 12.02. So let's start with reviewing the list and then we'll see the exciting demos. So we start with usability improvements, and the first of them relates to the ability to copy an URI of an element and then to navigate to that specific element by using that URI. So these commands have been extended to support the following scenario. Now you can not only navigate to a specific element, but you could select a line in a particular code snippet for that element and get a link for that line and then navigate to it. Another improvement in this release was that we have added a special command to create capsule destructors. And as you may know, C++ standard allows classes to have pure virtual operations, right? But it also allows in its recent versions for such operations to have bodies. So what we have noticed is when modeling this, sometimes users first create a body for an operation, but then they want to make the operation pure virtual. Right, and previously it was happening silently, but usually what users would like to do when making an operation pure virtual is to get rid of the body. So now users are explicitly notified about that, and they can control the behavior by means of a new special preference that we have added. Yet another improvement is that now to delete the entire return parameter of an operation, it's enough to just clean up the text in the return type field in the properties editor. So previously that only cleaned up the name, I think, not and the parameter remained as a kind of a junk in the model. So now these have been improved. And speaking of the properties editor, one of the tabs there that you could see, for example, on capsules, it's called dependencies. And there we have noticed that we have not been using screen state in the most effective manner. So there were some empty columns, and for some important information, there was not enough space. This has been also improved, and we'll see it in a bit. But looking at the list of improvements further, right? So as you might know also, when storing code snippets, we could use this CData option in XML. But we have noticed that sometimes in very specific cases, for example, like if you would be merging a branch that uses CData with a branch that on which the same model does not use CData, it could happen that all the new lines, all the new line characters would be gone from the CData pieces. So that was obviously a bug. Now this has been addressed, and we also improved a little bit the preference that controls which new line characters are used inside CData parts. We tried to make it even more obvious. So we'll see how that looks. Then, as you also may know, we have this build variants functionality that allows you to have a single user interface to create multiple variants of the builds of your model. And for that to work, you need to specify a JavaScript file that is called the build variant script. So now we support specifying this file, even if it is located not inside the workspace folder. It can happen if you're importing projects from other folders. Then we have also noticed that some important pieces, well, not the most important, but some pieces of target RTS documentation was missing. So now it has been added. So hopefully investigating target RTS now became easier. And then Another target RTS related improvement is that if you remember in the previous version, we have added JSON parser to the target RTS. Now in 12.02, this parser has been extended to support encoding and decoding of values with the type RT byte block. And we also extended the API for the JSON parser. Now you could iterate the keys in JSON object without needing to know the exact field names. So that also provides some flexibility. To mention several bugs that we have fixed and other improvements. So first of all, as you know, when editing transformation configurations, you could use either the form editor, right, or the JavaScript editor. And if using the JavaScript editor, there are two options. You can use simple assignment syntax, and then it will be equivalent to functionality to the form editor. Or you may decide to use something that we call advanced syntax, something beyond simple assignments. But in that case, previously, it was not possible to start a debug session from such transformation. Now this works flawlessly. And we also fixed, two annoying bugs, I would say, related to code to model synchronization. And they were quite difficult to fix because the first of them was not very easy to reproduce, but we have seen it rarely, right? Sometimes the wrong pieces of code of the generated code were synchronized back to code snippets. So now this problem has been addressed. And also in some situation, by the way, related to this deletion of pure virtual bodies, for example, right? This run active transformation configuration dialog was appearing really without a good reason. So that has also been addressed. And now maybe one of the most exciting, for some at least, announcements today is that we improved our support for macOS. So we had shipped a precompiled target configuration for macOS on Intel architecture. In version 12.02, we now also include target RTS for Mac OS on Apple Silicon, or ARM64, as I think we call it. So that is now fully supported, and we also would like to declare support for macOS as a platform where you can actually run the tool for both Intel and Apple architectures. This support is still experimental because there was not enough time for us, unfortunately, to polish all the big number of the test chains that test the graphical user interface that we want to run there. But we'll continue working on that, and everything we did so far proves that it works nicely. Then, last but not least, in version 12, we have updated under the hood the GMF, graphical modeling framework version used in Model RealTime from, I think, version 102 to version 103. But for a user, it means that if you save your model with version 12, you will not be able to open such models in earlier versions of the tool. It's not a very popular scenario, I think, but we still created, if there is a need, a special script which you could run on your models from version 12 that will make them openable. That will just change the version identifier of GMF inside your models, which is safe because we are not using any of the advancement that the new GMF version brings. Yes, and the last slide. In the previous demo, we have shown you a sample how to use gRPC In this sprint, it was advanced, and I'll show it in the end to include a library. It means that if you would like to start to build your own models, this has now become easier because you could grab the library where we have put all the reusable parts, and we also have added a new configuration to support Linux. Okay, now looking at what we are delivering. It is DevOps Model RealTime version 12.02. It's meant to be installed on Eclipse 2023.06. And the other supported versions include 11.1, 11.2, and 11.3. They are for earlier Eclipse versions, but they are currently in the maintenance mode. And I want to draw your attention to the fact that versions 11.1 and 11.2 will get out of support in the end of September 2024. So quite soon, please plan the adoption of the new versions accordingly. Okay, if we move further, here is the list of things that are currently being experimental in this release. For a while, we had this textual syntax for state machines. It remains experimental in 12.02. And as I mentioned, user interface support, right? So running Eclipse on macOS remains experimental for now. But yeah, we encourage you to try and let us know what you think.